Hi, I'm Brady. I'm with WMBB. I'm joined by Florida Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried. Commissioner Fried, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's actually a beautiful day here in Tallahassee, but the new norm
good.
that we're living in.
That's good, Commissioner. I want to jump right into it. There's a new committee the governor formed to sort of reopen the state of Florida, and even though you're a member of his cabinet, you're not on it. Tell us what you think about that.
Of course, I'm disappointed. Disappointed that not only myself, the agriculture community is represented onto the task force, but not even just me. We're not seeing, there's only 2 women on there, very little minority representation. The rural communities are not represented. Healthcare experts aren't. But you know what? The citizens of our state don't care about a task force. They care about making sure that we are reopening our state in a safe manner. The millions of people that are trying to get their unemployment checks and haven't been able to get their unemployment money. They need to know where their next meal is coming from. That's what people are on people's minds, and those are the concerns, not the internal back and forth bubble of who's on the task force.
Sure. Well, how do you think the state has done in terms of taking care of its residents in the middle of this pandemic and shutdown?
Obviously, I've been pretty critical of the governor. I called for the stay-at-home 3 weeks prior to it being closed because I saw the numbers, I saw the evidence and the science and the data, and really seeing that a piecemeal approach was not going to slow the spread of the virus, was not going to curtail and to lower and flatten the curve. So it was very critical of him and continue to stand by decisions as far as how to move forward with our state. But it's really important that now that we're past it, we're seeing that the curve is starting to flatten, but we need to make sure that we've got the right testing in place. That is what we saw even from the White House's reports, that in order to be able to reopen our economy and our state and the nation, that there are certain prongs that needs to be and benchmarks that needs to be accomplished. And we need to make sure that we're doing that and putting that as a priority before we actually start opening this up. Because the last thing we want to do is open up our state prematurely and then create an additional spread of the virus, and then we're back to square one and now have prolonged the economic impact and the health crisis here in our state.
You're talking about that, about maybe staying closed a little bit longer until we have the testing in place. Here in Bay County and in the Panhandle, we're already seeing some movement to reopen some things. Just this morning, the Bay County Commission reopened the beaches in kind of a limited way, several hours in the morning, several hours in the afternoon. So I have sort of a two-pronged question. The first question is, should local governments be making those decisions, or should it come at the state level about reopening the beach? And then just what do you think about reopening beaches right now, today, where we are?
We all know that we got criticized nationally for what's happening on our beaches, because it's not so much necessarily the spread of just for our own citizens, but people were coming to our state, were coming onto our beaches, and then going home and spreading it into their own communities, into their own states, and did say that a piecemeal approach was not going to work. And I'm so grateful and so thankful to so many of our mayors and county and city commissioners across the entire state that took leadership on their own and did what was best for their communities. And while I think that there needs to be caution and make sure that we are doing things in a very systematic, methodical manner. Look, I'm born and raised in Miami. I love the beach just like everybody else in our state and cherish my time on the beach. But I also need to know that, doing something so prematurely without getting the right testing in place can jeopardize really the health and wellness of our state and really prolong us being able to truly open back up our economy. And especially, my concern of the Panhandle is all the people that might be traveling to the Panhandle from whether it's Alabama or Georgia, who have their own, or Louisiana, who have their own outbreaks that are going on in their states. So it's not just about our own state citizens, but it's who's going to come to our beaches now that they get reopened. So I've got to have trust and faith in our local elected officials. They know what's best for their communities, but really heed caution to make sure that you are following scientific data, following the health experts, and making sure that you've got enough testing that's happening in your own communities to know that this outbreak has been slowed down.
Sure. Your job obviously is agriculture. So, what's the situation today with where's farming at in Florida? Are we getting? Do farmers have the help they need to get the food from the farm to the table, to the stores and then to us? What's going on that front right now, and what needs to happen in the near future to help them?
Yeah, Florida's agriculture industry has definitely taken a pretty substantial hit. We saw that the typical marketplace for agriculture in the state of Florida is our schools, is our restaurants, is Disney, is our cruise line industry. And when all those markets plummeted, it had a huge impact on the state. We are seeing reports that we put out yesterday, actually, that we're looking at a devastating loss of just up until this point of almost $500 million worth of agricultural losses. So we've seen substantial hits, but what our department has been doing is everything humanly possible. My team hasn't slept around the clock, 24/7. We are not leaving any stone unturned. In fact, we launched and stood up last week a new web page on our website, which is fdax.gov/keepfloridagrowing, which is really a one-stop shop for both the consumer as well as for the agriculture community. Agriculture can upload all of their commodities that they may have available, tell when the perishable dates are, and then a consumer can go right onto the website, purchase directly from the grower themselves, or find where their U-Picks are, their farmers markets. We saw last week almost 240,000 people already had gone onto the website, so it's being tremendously successful. We are also encouraging our farmers to go on and become a vendor for the state, so that way we can use some of our state agencies to actually be purchasing some of our domestic products. I've been calling and speaking to Walmart and Publix to increase their purchasing of Florida-grown, fresh from Florida products, making sure that there's no longer limitations on eggs or on milk, which we saw at the very beginning when people were hoarding. We also are doing a lot to connect the two, and we're spending a lot of time lobbying D.C. The USDA put out their stimulus package on Friday. Unfortunately, we are concerned that it's a little bit too little, too late. We're going to potentially see some of the red tape that we're seeing in the timber block grant as well, a similar situation. And unfortunately, the money that's coming down to the state of Florida for specialty crops is a small fraction of what the losses are actually going to be in the state. So we have asked our congressional delegation to, on the next stimulus package, to give block grants to the actual state departments of agriculture, because then we can redirect it to the exact locations of where the needs are. Because if this money comes down and too late, all of the harvest is already gone, the products are already plowed under, and now we're just doing is recuperating the losses and not trying to prevent them, which is really where the money was going to be used through the school nutrition program, as well as the farmers markets being able to purchase that locally grown produce.
So is that the equivalent of a federal level bailout for farmers? Is that what you're hoping for? Is a federal bailout?
I mean, similar. And this is what's great about our Florida farmers, and I'm sure you see it in the Panhandle and what everybody has had to do after Hurricane Michael. They are resilient. They are fighters. They are not looking for a bailout. They're not looking for handouts. They are looking for a hand up. And during these times, that's what they're looking for. Just ways to get through this growing season so they have some of the financial stability, because we're going to need them. We need to count on our agriculture here in the state of Florida. We're #2 seasonal crop growers in the entire country. We are going to need our farmers to be stable and be able to harvest for next season. We need that food, and we need that economic stability. Agriculture used to be the second largest economic driver, and I would bet that right now it's #1 with tourism at a standstill. And so we need to do everything we can to make sure that agriculture is thriving, that they're stable, that they're feeding our state, feeding our country, feeding the nation, feeding the world, but also being able to help our economy rebound from this economic disaster.
All right, Commissioner, this is we've sort of reached our time limit, but I wanted to give you just one more chance. What do you want folks to know at this juncture? What's the biggest message you want to leave with our viewers today?
Besides that we are all in this together, that the citizens of our state are my #1 top priority, that we are going to continue feeding everybody from those that are in school to so many of our citizens that are suffering today and will continue, unfortunately, as unemployment and underemployment continues to rise. And really asking our consumers to buy fresh from Florida produce. That is the best way that you can help our economy, the best way that you're getting the nutritional values of our fresh produce, not having to go to the food stores, but find your local farmer. Make sure you're going to your farmers markets or your U-Picks. Again, it's fdacs.gov/keepfloridagrowing. It's a one-stop shop and really something that's going to boost our economy and also to make sure that you're getting the nutritional values that you needed.
All right. Well, Commissioner, thank you for joining us. I want to thank everybody who stopped in to watch us, and we'll have this we'll have the whole interview online a little bit later today. And again, just thank you.
Thank you, and everybody be safe out there.